Let's talk about brains today. In particular, I want to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, along with TBI, traumatic brain injury. There's a big difference in these two things, but there's an awful lot of overlap in some populations with these two things, and they are different. The military has been studied extensively, and so we're going to talk a little bit about veterans today and the prevalence of TBI because there's blasts that happen in war which cause injury to the head. Very common injury for veterans to have where they're thrown backwards and their brain hits the skull, therefore causing a brain injury. Also PTSD, because if you're in war and you're injured and you watch other people be injured, naturally you're going to have issues with that afterwards. Some people more than others. So they figured out a 40% overlap between people who have PTSD and TBI. The problem is that these two things are treated differently. So some treatments can be used together to benefit, and other things are going to harm one or the other. This is research that is not well known. And I've seen veterans who struggle so much and they don't know why. First off, they haven't looked at their brain to see what exactly is happening in there, and they don't have the proper diagnosis and the proper treatment. So I'm not a person who diagnoses or treats these things. However, I am affiliated with the Amen clinics, and they do. And I do help people to heal their brains and to heal their minds. So the prevalence, as I said, is 40% of the overlap. The treatment for PTSD generally are SSRIs, so that's your antidepressant, serotonin reuptake inhibitor, like Prozac or Paxil, exposure therapy, antipsychotics, and benzodiazepines, along with magnetic stimulation. So those are some of the things that they do. Now, antidepressants can be helpful for some TBIs, and it's not that I encourage the use of a lot of prescriptions. In some cases, they can be very useful, in particular, short term to help. So with TBI, antipsychotics, benzodiazepines, and magnetic therapies actually impede function. You shouldn't have that. If you have a TBI, that can actually be dangerous for you. So if you have both PTSD and a TBI, and you're given these treatments, you could be getting worse instead of better. And where I'm getting my information was a paper that was published with the help of Dr. Daniel Amen and a number of other medical professionals. I'll just show it to you here. Here it is. It's only 5 pages long. Functional neuroimaging with default mode network regions distinguishes PTSD from TBI in military veteran population, if you want to look that up. And I'll just point out that in 5 pages, a full 2 pages here are dedicated simply to references from medical papers. And you see all the small print that's there. We've got a picture here of the imaging and how there's different areas of the brain that light up depending on what issue they're having. Is this a TBI? Is it PTSD? Different areas of the brain will light up for different indications. Now, I'm not specifically working with veterans. I have worked with veterans in the past. I mainly work with critical thinkers and whatever that is that they need. So people who have been to war, who have critical thinking, are more likely to have PTSD, in my estimation, simply because they think more and ruminate more on the things that have happened. They can't seem to help it. So what I try and do is help them get their thoughts under control. But at the same time, we need to heal the brain. If there's damage with the brain, we need to heal that. Because that is what you're working with. That is your base foundation of everything that you're working with in life is your brain. Dr. Amen says you heal your brain, you heal your life. And I really do believe that. So for your critical thinker who has been through things like this, there's more than one thing to consider. There's a number of things to consider. I mainly work with people with addiction, actually, and addiction because of critical thinking, as a byproduct of critical thinking, because they couldn't turn their minds off, so they take the drink instead. I help them to work backwards into how do you control your thoughts? How do you deal with feelings? How do you deal with life so that you don't need the drink? How do we heal your brain? If you've been addicted for some time, well, when you consider that alcohol is a solvent and your brain is 60% dry weight fat, what does a solvent do on fat? It dissolves it. So the lipid bilayer of the brain may be impaired, may be damaged. That fat can be replenished, can be healed. You are not stuck with the brain that you have, whether that's alcoholism or cocaine addiction or PTSD or traumatic brain injury. It can be changed. It can be healed. Don't give up hope. So if you've tried things and you haven't gotten better, chances are you need to look a little bit deeper. And my goal today is to inspire some hope in you and to give you and impart some knowledge to you so that you can think differently, you can choose differently, and you can move on with your life more elegantly. That is my hope. I'm Dr. Blythe Cleverly. Please feel free to reach out to me. I am the thinker's advocate and I'm a hope bringer for those who are critical thinkers, and I would be pleased to talk with you.